and Wayne, Sunday morning at 7:30.
Good morning. I'm Wayne Chandler.
Happy Mother's Day. I'm Toby the Robot.
That's right. Happy Mother's Day. And it's time to read the Miami Herald's Sunday Funnies. We'd like you to join us. You know, this is it, Toby.
This is Mother's Day.
This is that one day out of the year that we set aside to, well, to tell moms how much we appreciate them and how much we appreciate the great things that they do all year long. It's a shame that we only do that one day a year.
That's right. So often we forget. And you know what?
What?
I like to say, since it's Sunday morning,
Yeah.
and I won't be there, Happy Mother Day to my mom in Vero Beach.
Well,
it's her 44th Mother's Day.
No kidding.
That's right.
Hey, well, that's great. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of the moms out there who are watching, too.
You know what
Even
else?
the ones who aren't watching. What?
A whole week has gone by, and here we are once again.
Yeah.
And it's about the 4th week of those new comics, too.
That's right, it is, isn't
And
it?
we've survived. Well,
What do you mean we've survived?
with the new comics.
Did you think we were going to have a problem?
Nobody's really complained.
Because they're smaller?
That's right.
Well, it's supposed to be easier to work with them if they're smaller.
We got mail this week, Friday as a matter of fact, from New York State.
Really?
Someone who watched us a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that great?
What did it say?
Hi,
That's all?
that's all.
There's nothing else?
Sent in the contest trip, that's all.
There's nothing else in there?
Wanted to be on the Funnies,
That's it?
but he can't come back.
Why didn't you show it to me? Why didn't you bring it out here in front of everyone so that we could all see it and read it and appreciate it?
I've been too busy
You could
working
share
on
it
other
with
things.
us. Like what? Name two.
Well, the satellite dish,
What's that got to do with what we're doing here this morning?
personnel, other things, you know.
The satellite dish?
Yes.
Is that anything to do with the food?
Well, someday you could be a
that-
famous weatherman up north because of satellites.
Not hardly.
Sure.
Not hardly.
Yes.
I doubt that.
No, why?
Well, that's a whole other story I'll tell you about later.
Okay.
Right now, we're going to find out who's here to read the comics with us today. That may happen, but it won't be because of the satellite dish anyway. What's your name?
Eddie Stevens,
How old are you, Eddie?
10.
That's not funny. I told myself a joke.
Again?
What school do you go to?
Clark Gables Elementary,
What grade are you in?
5th.
Okay. What's your name?
Shayna Levine,
And how old are you?
7.
Feel smart, Toby?
Well, I'll tell you, those are very interesting facts.
Well, I know, but do you feel smart?
I always feel smart, especially when I put my thinking cap on.
Is it on now?
It's on now.
I don't see it.
I have it on.
Okay.
It's my imaginary thinking cap.
Do you have yours on? Because it's time now to play, you guessed it, Spin the Spell. Let me explain how Spin the Spell works. It's really quite simple. Over here is a dial with an arrow. I'm going to spin the arrow. It's going to stop on one of the colors. What color? Well, probably we'll stop on... Yes, it'll stop. Let's make it red. Stops on orange because it's down at the bottom and it's always stops that way. Anyway, it's going to stop on one of the colors. Over there are corresponding colors, and inside of each one of those envelopes are, you guessed it, words. Words out of today's Miami Herald Sunday Funnies, and they will be words we have already read. If you think you know how to spell the word, you raise your hand. The first person who raises their hand is the first person who gets the spell. If you spell the word correctly, you win, and the game is over. However, if you spell the word incorrectly, you hear the old buzzer-rooney, and just like a spelling bee, you'll be disqualified and can't play a second time. We'll play until we spell a word correctly or go through two words, whichever comes first. Simple enough rules, so let's find out what our first spin to spell word is. As the arrow goes around and around and around and around, past the orange and the white, the green and the orange and the red and the yellow and the blue and the purple and the orange and the white, the green and the orange and the red and the yellow and the blue and the purple and the black lines and the spaces in between the pegs. It passes by the pegs too, slows down and stops on the light orange. Aha! There's a new one. Stops on the light orange. That's Yes, the light orange. If you'll hand me an envelope from that slot, please. Thank you. We'll open it up and find out what our first spin to spell word is. Aha. So that we all start off evenly, if you'll all emulate Jeffrey and put the palms of your hands flat on your lap, that means do the same thing he's doing. That way everybody starts off even. Our first word comes from panel number 1 of Nancy. And the word is wiggly. Wiggly, 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 wiggly. Who was first, Toby? Oh, the tension mounts. I was wondering if you were going to go over into that direction because, that's the hand that I saw that went up first.
Right. Come hither.
You have to stand up. If you can squeeze yourself out of there, turn
Such
around
big
and tell
eyes
us,
you have.
how do you spell wiggly?
W-I-G-G-L-E-Y.
Oh. Oh, no. It's W-I-G-G-L-Y. You got an extra E in there, and those...
This is a report from NBC News. Here is Eric Burns.
Good morning. I'm Eric Burns in New York to tell you that for the first time since last Tuesday, there are reports of fighting in the Falkland Islands. Argentina said this morning that Britain attacked the Falkland Islands with their air and naval forces. However, there is a denial of that from the British. The British Defense Ministry in London says this is not true. The Argentine Military High Command said that the attack was on Port Stanley this morning, which is the capital of the Falklands, and it came at 1:40 Eastern Daylight Time. I'm sorry, that's local time. That would be 12:40 Eastern Daylight Time. The report from the Argentines said that the attack by the British was being repelled by their forces. However, this is the statement that we got from the British Foreign Ministry, and I'm quoting, "There are reports from foreign sources that our task force has begun an attack to recover the Falkland Islands. This is not true." Again, those are the words of the British Defense Ministry. The Argentine president, Leopoldo Galtieri, is reportedly meeting this morning with his cabinet in Buenos Aires to discuss the attack, and the Argentine government says it's watching the situation very closely. We have this statement from our State Department from spokesman Susan Pittman, who said, "I don't think we are going to be commenting on the attack." As far as we know, peace efforts in New York are continuing this day, or will be continuing later today, with Secretary General Javier de Perez Cuellar meeting with representatives of both sides. That's all we know at this hour. To repeat, there are reports for the first time since last Tuesday of fighting in the Falkland Islands. The reports come from Argentina. A denial comes from Britain. I'm Eric Burns, NBC News in New York. We'll have more for you later.
This has been a report from NBC News. We now join our program in progress.
Very good. Okay, that's yours. Now, mine's got to be over here somewhere, so it must be this one here. I keep taking it with me and setting it down and losing it. We are now over on the next page, up at the top. No, we're not. We're in the middle. See what's going on with the Wizard of Id. There in the first picture is the king and the friar. And the king says to the friar,
I'd like to light a candle for my dear old mom.
and the friar says, sorry, I didn't know she was deceased. And he says,
She's not. It's Mother's Day.
and the friar says, well, it's not standard procedure, but you don't light a candle for someone who's still alive. And the king says,
What do you suggest?
suggest. Haha, what do you suggest? And the friar says, why don't you send her a card? Just a few moments pass, and there's the postman at the king's mother's mailbox. And the postman says,
A letter for His Majesty's mum on Mum's Day.
and His Majesty's mum says, go ahead, read that. Egotistical.
Egotistical little runt sent me the King of Hearts.
The egotistical little runt sent me the King of Hearts. That's the card that he sent. He didn't send a Mother's Day card. He sent a card out of a deck of cards. And the King of Hearts, no less. Dennis the Menace is next. That's at the bottom of the page we're on. There's Dennis and Joey in the first picture. And they're in Joey's room. Or are they in Dennis's room? They're in Joey's room. Dennis's room is messier, that's how you can tell. And Dennis says to Joey, he says,
Do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to buy you some ice cream.
Oh, boy!
says Joey, and Dennis says,
That's what I'd like to do.
Swell, says Joey. I like chocolate.
and Dennis says,
But I don't have any money.
Oh,
says Joey. Then Dennis says,
Of course, if you'd lend me some money, I could buy both of us some ice cream.
all my money is in my piggy bank.
says Joey. Dennis grabs a hold of the piggy bank, turns it over, and says,
Get a knife and we can slide the coins out.
My mom won't let me touch the knives.
says Joey. Then Dennis says,
Then we may have to break it open.
bless you.
Excuse me.
And Joey grabs the bank back from Dennis and says,
Break Porky? Never.
and downstairs they go. Joey saying,
I think my mom's got some ice cream in the freezer.
and Dennis says,
Swell, that's just as good.
and into the kitchen they go. Joey's mom gets some ice cream out of the freezer, and she says, It was nice of you to offer to buy Joey some ice cream. And Dennis says,
Gee whiz, Miss McDonald, that's what friends are for.
I don't think she knows the whole story. Dennis volunteered to buy some ice cream, but only if Joey would lend him money. Well, I guess the thought was what really counted. I think...
You're a good reader.
And we'll be looking for you next Sunday morning at 7:30. Until then, bye-bye. And happy Mother's Day!